Greetings, Sir and Sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to the Unnamed Fortress. In today's episode, we are going to be finishing the fortress once and for all, and testing out a brand new version of the Firehawk. No longer does this new prototype use advanced cannons, but instead uses a very nasty laser and a whole host of anti-missile systems. It's a little bit more on the technologically advanced side to the regular Firehawk, being even a little bit lighter and better armoured, but it packs a nasty punch. So hopefully that thing will lead us to victory against the Deepwater Guard once and for all extremely soon. I foresee the Deepwater Guard's destruction, hopefully in the next episode. But on to our main bit of today. Let's finish off this fortress once and for all, so that we have a fortress we can spawn in whenever we actually care about a resource zone. So I've built up the armour around the edges. I've done a bit of a nice-ish looking armour cap for the main turret. The problem with this one is that it's so big, it was very difficult to make anything that looked sleek. Every time I tried, it just ended up looking very silly and a bit too small for the actual turret itself. So we're going with a very bland, kind of blocky turret there. Hopefully we'll make something a little bit more unique for the flat cannons on the side. I have reworked the missiles and reworked the inside of the fortress, so now it is a truly fortified area for all of our resources, so no longer do I have to build another building. And with that, it means I've freed up this space purely for the refinery, so we can make, I'm going to probably guess, a couple of separate refinery buildings, all just with a single fuel refinery inside of them. This way we can replace fuel quickly once we use it to simply transfer to our flyers and to whatever kind of ship actually needs the resource. So let's get started with that. I think I'm going to start off with the refinery, and we'll do the turrets last, as like I've said before, I really don't like doing turret caps. I'm not good at them, I'll be perfectly honest, I am terrible at them, and I just find them really boring to do. But regular buildings and walls and stuff, I find a lot more fun. So we're going to make a 3D kind of hallway here, kind of protruding a little bit to give this a little bit more, I don't know, a bit more dominance of the area, a bit more grandeur, importance, as this is the fuel refinery. This is going to be so important for almost all of our fortresses. I think it deserves a bit more than simply the engine area, honestly. As much as engines are obviously very much needed, I've even snuck in a couple of more high-powered ones in the corner there, it's not something which we're really going to be calling upon in the future, not really looking at or changing. Once it's there, it's going to be there. This, on the other hand, I'm still learning about refineries. As you can see, I've just plonked them down for a few tests. This is not a good refinery, do not copy this. This is me being stupid and forgetting I was being stupid earlier. So what I'm thinking of doing, okay, so there's two options. Either we have 3 small buildings actually attaching themselves to the wall, which would be good because it means we could use this metal lip here without having to completely alter it, or we could have 2 buildings, one attaching to this wall here, which would actually be quite good, even more fortifying the resource cache in there, and then one on the other side, once again reinforcing the side armor here, well, the back armor of the fortress. Oh, that's really difficult. So either 2 very large buildings or 3 or 4 smaller buildings, each holding a small refinery. The thing with the refinery is, they're not actually that big. Even the better ones, because I've actually looked up a couple of guides now, which is very rare for me, so you know these things are weird, don't end up that big. Once again, this patch has been all about you don't get rewarded for building big. Generally, smaller is better. That's why, although that railgun is ridiculous, and it can crush an entire ship in one shot, these flat cannons, so much better, so much better. The only thing right now which is still better when bigger is the custom cannons, and I'm trying not to use those too much, although saying that, I may end up building them around the edge, as what the last thing I would like to do to this fortress is perhaps add some very small weapon systems, I'm not sure what, mostly for looks around the outside, possibly on some kind of little platform of their own, something like this, perhaps a circle coming out of the edge, a little bit lower than the lip, which will just hold a weapon in the middle. Of course I'll make it more circular than this square. I'm not sure though, and if I do something like that, most likely it'll either be missiles or custom cannons, just because they can be built a lot smaller and still be effective. Although you can have very effective advanced cannons, I find they still don't lend themselves too well to being absolutely tiny. although I have had a few very successful tiny AA guns in the past. Well then, I think we should get started experimenting with a few ideas with these.
Jack it up. Jack it up.
Well, well, well. Although it's not quite finished completely, it's at least at the level now where I don't think I'm going to be building anymore on camera. Ultimately, it is what I wanted it to look like. The only things I really need to work on now is the outside of the wall, and yet again these turrets. I cannot make a good turret cap to save my life. These are far too blocky, and although they do fit the style of the fortress, I don't like them in the slightest, and one of the problems is the actual turret body itself, which has a great deal of the actual bodywork outside of the fortress, meaning that the outer cap has to be quite big to compensate for this. So most likely what I'm going to have to do is completely alter the turret itself, rather than just the cap, and that will take quite a bit of time, so I'll be doing that off camera between this episode and probably the next. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. We have our own little factory building here, which is fortifying the side, along with looking quite nice in my opinion, and we have a little oil area here. I didn't really want to make it too much like an oil rig, so I just kind of built up yet another set of office rooms, but it just makes the whole thing look more official, looks more alive, and like I say, I am pretty happy with it. There's a few things I want to touch up. The edges still, the outside of the wall like I mentioned, this area here isn't complete, but all again, they're just tiny little things we can do do off camera. So, really happy with that, and now we can finally get into some battles. The thing you can see moving in the very background there is actually the new Firehawk. It is moving to the front of the battle so that we can see it in a couple of fights. Now, I have looked at it again, and I've realised I've actually made a couple of mistakes with it. This is what happens when you're building something off-camera in little bits over your break period, because I've been building this over my week off, and I may have put ammo boxes right at the front of the craft. This thing is liable to explode, is basically what I'm saying. This thing may explode at any given time, but with its extreme laser weaponry, in the form of one very nasty laser, maybe it can kill the enemies before they kill it. Let's see. I should mention, however, before we get into the Firehawk battles, I am still going to go ahead and add the side weapons, like I mentioned earlier, but like with the turret, after altering it a few times, trying to figure out something nice looking, I kind of gave up for this recording session. Instead, I'm most likely going to use these natural gaps we've got between each of these little fortifications, whatever you want to actually call them. They're not exactly like a castle fortification, they're just something special, and I'm going to use those gaps to perhaps either have advanced cannons using the idea of only having 1 or 2 ammo clips attached, or perhaps even torpedo weaponry, which will be incredibly easy to implement, as you can just have one set up to a single missile controller, a single AI section, and it'll all be good and well. So most likely that's going to happen as well before the next episode, or sometime after that. And that really is that. There's no other plans for the fortress. It is pretty much done. As fortune would have it, we have came against the ultimate enemy to test out our new laser system. We are against a flying squirrel and a shrike. Essentially 2 enemies which are really good at dodging missile attacks and even anti-air turret attacks. So will the laser be able to counter them? I don't have amazing hopes for this. As always, I've not tested out the prototype for the battle, and I am a little bit nervous about the accuracy of the laser. I think it will get the job done, but I think it'll get the job done a little bit too slowly, with a few of the attacks simply missing, but we'll only see that if we begin the combat. So, let's start, turn off our control of the laser, and there it is already firing. Is it doing anything? That's the biggest question. Oh, it has hit the squirrel, and completely taken it out of the sky. That's all I wanted, a simple knockout of the sky there. The laser did a lot of damage to the Shrike as well, and the missiles are finishing it off. Actually, no they're not, because that's the whole problem with the Shrike, isn't it? It dodges missiles well by using the missile distractors, whatever they're actually called, the heated elements which will distract IR missiles, infrared missiles. I really should change the type of missile at some point, but that requires a bit of a redesign. Why are my anti-missile systems targeting the Shrike, not its missile? That was very weird. One other thing I should mention, as I've just remembered it, we have also added mines to this thing, although they haven't been set up properly yet, so they'll be dropped as soon as they're near an enemy, rather than at a certain height or distance. The only thing they have set up is simply, is the enemy above 50 meters? If yes, don't bother dropping the sea mines. A few more battles, I think, and then we'll get a good feeling for just how good this craft actually is. The laser did just about well enough. I wasn't completely happy with that, but it did better than it could have. Well, a much scarier showing this time. We are against the Plunderer. Perhaps this will be the last test of the day, as honestly, I don't have that much hope for the Firehawk, and I know I've said that a lot of times in the past. But this Firehawk is definitely worse than the original. It's simply testing out the feasibility of a laser system with the new engines and with this size of craft being so heavy. I'm not convinced yet, and I don't think the Plunderer is going to convince me anymore. Here's the question. Do we risk it and try and spawn right on its head and just drop mines on it? The mines will do a lot of damage if they hit the target. Or do we stay back and hope the lasers work? Let's just drop mines on its face. It seems the more humorous of options. Please work. Please work. I haven't tested out the mines yet. Please work. Laser system doing some damage. It's just not accurate enough. That's one of the huge already a massive explosion in the Firehawk being caused by the amazing weapon systems of the Plunderer. Although the missiles have completely took it off the front. It didn't even drop the mines. It didn't even drop the mines. Oh, Plunderer. I'm sorry, but our cruise missile's clearly a bit too much there. But the explosions, like I said, it's just not designed very well. It's simply testing out a weapon system, which I'm not convinced by. Lasers have gone from being overpowered to being so expensive to run now. It's almost not feasible. Oh, those missiles there. Oh, those missiles there. Can you please just drop the mines? I don't care if you miss. Oh, look how much damage that gun's doing to me. There's chunks of Firehawk everywhere. Nope, I think I just saw the missile system. Nope, there's the mines. I'm about to say I thought I saw them get detonated, but they are dropping them, including one of the flares. There's the rest of them dropping later because the system was damaged. You helped, guys. Seriously, you guys really helped. They would have helped. But, yeah. On the upside, the self-repair system of the Firehawk seemed to be doing pretty well, which I am proud of. There's basically just a lot of repair bots in this thing. Is it already fully functioning? How much health? It's now at, yep, full health. It did end on full health, but so much damage being taken then. Oh, I really need to work on this thing. No, I don't. I think I've decided, after seeing just that, the amount of engine power I would need for a feasible laser system on something like this, particularly something that's so movable, just isn't going to work out very well, especially if it's going to be a major weapon system. On a battleship, like a laser battleship, which is now my plan in my head, definitely would work. 100%, you could have the space for engines, you could do all sorts of insane stuff to make it work, but with this, I just don't think it will. The original Firehawk, definitely the better of the two, much more space for defense, using the advanced cannons which actually work. The only thing I'm concerned with is anti-air combat, but honestly, we've seen the missiles take out flying squirrels. What are they going to miss? Let's see if we can just get into a battle quickly with the Firehawks to round off the episode, as building that took me, I don't want to say, it was a long time. Hello, enemy. Who are we facing off against? A Barracuda, and a coffin nail. Well, that is horrific. And so it begins, the two original Firehawk prototypes versus the drone carrier and the ever-ominous coffin nail of the Deepwater Guard. This is going to cause some serious FPS loss, and I can't wait until From the Depths is a little bit more friendly with multi-core support, in that, you know, it kind of needs it at all. Also, why does all of the Deepwater Guard now have some form of flares? I really wish they didn't have those. Something is already 2 damaged. I'm assuming it's one of the Barracuda's little drones, as I doubt we've damaged the Barracuda that much already. Even with the cruise missiles, if they all hit, which they didn't because of the flares, it would have been very nice. But once again showing I really do need laser detonators and different kind of missiles. The IR missiles, as much as I love infrared missiles, the amount of times they have been thwarted now by flares and all sorts of other problems is getting a bit laughable. Well, the Barracuda is definitely very hurt. Not quite taken out, but definitely very hurt. Let's just go into this mode so we can see everything rather than having the UI clutter everything. Come on, hit the target. These are almost as bad as flying squirrels, to be honest, so yeah, we're going to have a lot of this happen. But if we fill the air with missiles, one of them will hit the target. That is the plan. That has always been the plan of the Firehawks. That's just how they function. AI dead, the Barracuda is now officially dead. Ooh, if we quickly jump into this ship, there's a very small chance we'll actually capture the Barracuda. Maybe not. Would have been awesome, but no. Unless I jump onto it now. I see, the problem is it's no longer AI dead. That would have been awesome. Also, I now see a problem. We have become one with the Barracuda. This isn't very good. On the upside, the 2 little advanced cannons on the side actually doing a great job there. The Barracuda is now upside down. That is a problem for the Barracuda. Most of the drone ships have also been cleared out now just by the sheer swarm of missiles. Where's the Firehawk? There it is. Like I said, oh there you go. That one just hit the target a little bit. Was it enough to slow it down? Doesn't seem like it. However, that one also wasn't. Oh, they even have the missile distracting things. That's really annoying. Yeah, we need to start using the laser detonators. So many of those missiles went to waste. I won't be using them solely as the only type of missile, as they have a lot more setup, and they can be very bad or very weird in a lot of situations. But I need both types of missile active at any given time, so if something is countering infrared missiles, we can still hit them. Goodbye, little guy. Oh, look, it's being taken back into the mothership for repairs. The problem is, the mothership just blew up. Is that the final two? Well, it's definitely the final one flying. Oh, it rammed into me and killed me in its last action before being destroyed. Actually, the other Firehawk's currently in the water. Oh dear. So one Firehawk did get down. I would respawn, but honestly, oh, fine. I was about to say, by the time I land, the battle's probably going to be over. How badly damaged is the other Firehawk? It actually looks really badly damaged. Wow. Apparently we were staying on the one which just simply wasn't being hurt. Lost 4%. What are you in the water for? What's wrong with you? Engine power seems fine. Actually, why are you in the water? You're still in the water. Okay, something's gone really wrong with this. Nope, you're now lifting. You're now lifting. I don't know what was wrong with that. Clearly the Firehawks still have a lot of problems with them, but that's why they're just prototypes and not the finished version. Anyway, I'm afraid though, I am all out of time for today's recording. I am getting closer to getting the Firehawk of my dreams, but for now there are still a lot of problems with them, and well, as you've seen with the laser variation, I'm still experimenting with some weird combinations. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, we are finishing off the Deepwater Guard and starting construction of our first ever structure, as I've never actually built a structure in From the Depths, well, for a resource zone I should say. I have built structures in the past in the form of a little defense building over here, but never something which I plan on reproducing, copying and pasting in other places, so that's going to be a very weird experience for me. And once that's built, we'll decide on our next enemy, and hopefully we'll have the Firehawk finished by the end of next episode.